Maximising the impact of product messaging frameworks. My name is Charlie Gale and I'm a copywriter here at Product Marketing Alliance. Product messaging frameworks, aka message maps, come in all shapes and sizes. When you're selecting your framework, ask yourself who is the intended audience, as this will determine whether you need something plain or fancy, poetic or technical. What better way to kick off this video than to give you some expert product messaging framework advice? Holly Watson, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Amazon Web Services, enjoys messaging frameworks that take a holistic approach. She told us, "I always like to start at the brand level and make sure that I'm thinking about my nomenclature and taxonomy. What I mean by that is when I look at the brand at large, I can start to see what our intention is from the 30,000-foot view. If I slowly start getting down into the nuances, how do I categorise that? And that's where your nomenclature and taxonomy comes into play. Nomenclature is your dictionary, your guidebook. When I say product, what do I mean? When I say feature, what does that mean? When I say benefit, what does that mean? It's important, at least amongst the product marketing team, that you're aligned to those definitions. This might also seem something like, oh, well, we know what a product is, we all know what a benefit is, but do you? I strongly encourage people to double check that and double check their nomenclature. Once you, as a team, have that established, go in and pressure test that against other teams. If your product management team agrees, do they see other ways of categorizing it? There are a couple of different ways that you can break that down. Once you have your nomenclature through, your taxonomy comes into play and you're able to stack rank and align. Establish how your platform breaks down into specific products, which features are those products being supported by, and whether you need to divide into modules or even capabilities that are smaller than a feature. That type of taxonomy helps you see, as a product marketer, opportunities to classify and categorize your story. The whole intention of messaging is to succinctly bring a prospect through to the buying process and turn them into a paying customer. But not only a customer advocate, and a massive fan. As a product marketer, you have to tell that connected story to make sure that they're following this path throughout their journey. As we've alluded to previously, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to messaging frameworks. What works for one company may not necessarily work for another. How to complete a product messaging framework. To get maximum impact from messaging frameworks, you need to start by thinking carefully about what you need to do. Then you must define it as a process. Overhauling your company's messaging is not something that you or your team can tackle alone, or something that you can do all in one go. It needs to involve people from several different departments and will take a long time to complete. We've spoken to product marketers within our community who have spent 4 to 6 months on their messaging overhauls. This process involved product marketing, sales, marketing, and product, as well as their leadership. You need to create different layers of messaging, and usually the first to be tackled is brand messaging, also known as core messaging and corporate messaging. If you work for a company that has lots of products, or you have vastly different buyer personas, you may need more than one brand message. You might need messaging tailored to different departments or verticals. Begin by prioritizing the messaging you want to change, because it's unrealistic for you to think that you're going to roll out a huge message overhaul in one go. You need to consider having phases, and phase 1 should be your corporate messaging. If you have 2 or more personas that have a wide gap in how they need to be framed, you're going to need different messaging documents for each. Otherwise, you're not going to be speaking to them in a way that makes them tick, relate, and act on what you're saying. PMA's messaging framework is a great starting point. Keep in mind, this framework isn't prescriptive. For example, if you're managing multiple products, you might have a portfolio message that sits at the top of your document. Alternatively, if you're a startup where things tend to be a bit more blurry, to begin with, you might want to include corporate messaging at the top to make sure your corporate and product messaging don't get mingled.